Hello everybody and welcome back to Adventures in Collecting, where we take a closer look at the toys we talk about on the show. And today we are taking a look at something that I have been excited for since it was announced at New York Comic Con. The first in what's being referred to as the Image Comics Founders Series. We are taking a look at the Elite Edition Spawn from McFarlane Toys. Spawn is my favorite comic book character, so let's get that out of the way first. I'm going to try to shed any bias towards the character as I go through the review. I've had lots of Spawn figures over the years. I have a custom up there. We'll compare it to the custom that I have that's based off of the Shadow of Spawn Mortal Kombat 11 figure, but here is Spawn as he is meant to have made his debut and appear in Spawn #1. I mean, just looking at this figure in the window here, one thing immediately jumps out, and that is the colors. So for the first time in kind of the modern action figure version of Spawn, we have the bright reds, the deep blacks, the whites. We don't have the giant boot on the foot. This does look like the first iteration of Spawn, going back to the first action figure, the first appearance in the comics. We've got a ton of accessories, we've got a ton of hands. We've got one of the most iconic accessories of all time from an action figure in my mind, which is board with nail in it. It is back. We've got the hamburger head option, we've got the necroplasm effect, and some additional chains that will likely plug in the back here. So, you know, tour of the package, great art there on the side, great art there on the back. And this is actually my first Elite Edition figure from McFarlane Toys. I have not splurged on any of the previous Elite Editions. They just have not spoken to me the way that this does. But as somebody who genuinely loves this character, reads the comics to this day, has kind of never stopped, I'm really excited to dig into this one. So I'm gonna shut up, I'm gonna get this into the light box. Let's take a closer look at the Image Comics Founder Series Elite Edition Spawn. Let's get them in the light box and come back and talk about them. Alright folks, there you have it. There is your Founder Series Elite Edition Spawn. Let's start off with just kind of a general reaction to this. I think this is great. Some of the early pictures of this, as people were starting to get it, were giving me some pause in terms of proportion and an overall sculpt, but I actually totally get it now in hand. The squintier, more closed eyes is more accurate to that original cover art. The colors are spot on. The reds are super bright. They pop right off the figure. The real chains are great. The cape is actually awesome. Again, one of those things that I was concerned about based on the original pictures. There are some gripes, minor gripes with the capes, or with the cape and the soft goods in general, but we'll get to that momentarily. Overall, I think this is, I would actually go as far as to say this is probably better than the Kickstarter Spawn, which I do also have. Unfortunately, he is packed away right now because the cape is so freaking big on that figure and heavy that I just can't display him right now. So unfortunately, I don't have him available to compare, but that was kind of a more realistic take, like gritty, realistic take on the comic book art as opposed to the original comic book art. Whereas this has that original comic book art, bright reds, crisp colors, crisp lines, smooth texture throughout the figure. You know, with the exception of some musculature and sculpt in the abdomen here. This is true to form for Spawn. And as you can see, you get a display base, so something a little bit different, a little bit extra from the typical, you know, Spawn style plate that you get with other McFarlane figures. You do get a series of extra hands, which you saw in the light box there, as well as the hamburger Spawn head, which again, you also saw. The important thing about this figure, which I think is really cool, also the chains. So the chains do port in the back here. And I'm just gonna pop them off for a moment. The important thing with this figure that's really neat is he can actually, I would go as far as to say, I'm pretty sure, and correct me if I'm wrong, this is the first official non-custom Spawn figure that can hit that pose that's on the package. You even get the necroplasm that fits on the hand, but this figure moves really, really well. You know, he's not hindered by a heavy plastic cape for kind of the first time really ever. You know, he does have the modern articulation, which means he can butterfly and reach down. I'm gonna try to just get this really quick without the reference material, but basically something like that, you know? He can hit that pose. You can even get that arm down a little bit deeper there. There we go. So he can hit that iconic pose from the book, which is great. Now let's get into just a couple of gripes. So one is the price. This figure is a $50 to $60 figure, depending on where you get it. The figure itself feels just like a McFarlane Toys figure, DC Multiverse or Spawn figure. So let's say this is a collector's edition figure. I would go as far as to say that, right? So you get the same type of accessories, you get the same type of figure, same type of plastic, use of soft goods, things like that. Obviously, he does have some chain on him, but generally speaking, this does feel presentation-wise like a collector's edition figure, which goes for, you know, usually $35 to $40, again, depending on where you get it. That being said, there are a couple things that I wish they had kind of committed to here. One, again, the cape is great. The billowed back, this is sewed in, so it's not going anywhere. The cape is tacked to his chest, which is fantastic. Again, not going anywhere. Unfortunately, the cape does not have the same metal chain as the rest of the figure, nor does the cape have the same level of detail, so that those blacks aren't filled in the little skulls, and the chain is plastic. So that's one thing. Two, the wire in the cape, and I have to play with it and see if I can maybe finagle it a little bit. The wire stops here on the cape. Stops right here. So there is a gap, maybe about like 2 inches between the end of the wire and the end of the cape, which means that if you're going for a high cape pose, it almost just immediately flops down, unfortunately. So, you know, doing something where, you know, if you wanted the cape up like he's swooping down is going to be very challenging, because when you bend the cape up, it's about as far up as you're going to get. So you don't have the support. And again, that might be fixable. I might be able to just kind of work the wire down a little bit, which I'm trying to do right now without poking a hole in it. But then it's going to kind of give me the opposite problem, I think, where I'm going to have all this extra space at the bottom. Let's see, I'm trying to do this live. No, I don't think it's going to work. No. So it's still, you know, so that's unfortunate. Now the cape does have a lot of really great coverage. It can absolutely, you know, envelop him. It can whip out. You can use the hand to help support, you know, like a motion like that, which again, it's great to be in kind of the age of wired capes. The other issue is the collar. So the collar is not wired at all. This is not wired. It is permanently affixed in that position, which means that if you give him the kind of sense of motion, you can't counteract that or play with that with the collar. The collar is there. The good thing about the collar is it doesn't flop over. It is kind of highly starched, I guess you can say. So it's not going to go anywhere. I don't have any inclination that it's going to go anywhere. Now, for customizers out there, so compare him to, as I mentioned, this was a custom cape that I had purchased on Amazon way back. I cut off the cape of the Mortal Kombat 11 Shadow of Spawn figure and glued this on. This is not listed on Amazon anymore, unfortunately, or I would put the link in the description, but I just have this super glued, you know, in those two spots, and you can actually see in the back, I just cut it off. This is a great, you know, kind of Model 2 modern Spawn. You know, he's got the boot and everything. So by no means does that Spawn replace this Spawn, but this cape, as you can see, has the wire that goes all the way to the edge, which means you can do full up, and it also does have a collar with a wire in it, so you can move the collar however you so desire. Now again, these Spawns are very different. They're from kind of two different eras. The colors are different. The reds, I wouldn't put this cape on this Spawn. The colors don't match. You know, if you notice the darker reds, like this matches, it looks like it belongs. Still, that being said, for this price point, for a $50 to $60 figure, is this Spawn figure worth it? You have to ask yourself two things. One, how big of a Spawn fan are you? You know, does this comic book character mean, I don't want to say mean the world to you, but is it one of your favorites? If it is, this is an excellent, if not the best Spawn figure that we've gotten in this format. I mean, just look at him next to the iconic clown figure. You know, it looks just perfect look in terms of aesthetic. Again, next to Todd there, so creator and his creation, looking snazzy. I think this is a great figure. I genuinely think this is a great figure with some flaws. Now, you know, customizer's gonna customize. So if somebody out there matches the red on this cape with a new wired cape, all you're gonna have to do is heat up and or cut off these two connector joints. There's nothing on the back that's gonna stop you. And yeah, you could upgrade this cape, and that will take you a long way. That will provide some substantial improvement to this figure. That being said, you just paid $50 to $60 for a Spawn figure, and do you want to spend another $20 to $30 to maybe even $40 just for a cape? Or is this enough? For me personally, with the amount of Spawn figures that I have, this is enough for me. I don't think I'm going to touch this figure. You know, I think once I put it on my shelf and I have it on display, I'm going to be happy looking at it for the future, and I'm happy that I can display an original looking Spawn for really the first time, you know, and not have my entire display case filled with a giant plastic cape. Now, we've had the opportunity to interview Todd several times, and he's talked at length about how he feels about capes and wired capes, and how he wants kind of like a modular wired cape with stands and things that hold things up. I love his enthusiasm. I really think this could have been a 10 out of 10 perfect figure with those two or three changes to the cape. Some additional wires in the collar, the metal on the chain on the cape, and just a wire that went all the way to the edge. And like I said, if I make one change, this is an easy seam. Trying to find the end of it here. You can see it's just sewn at the bottom. I may very well rip that seam and put a thicker wire in there, just to get that a little extra support, so that way I can get him into some more dynamic poses. I feel weird sometimes about customizing figures, whereas other times I don't. Like I just showed you, I cut off a cape off of a Mortal Kombat spawn. To me, that's like, oh, that's a Mortal Kombat spawn. This is like an Elite Collection, Elite Edition, Collector's Edition, Founder Series. It has a little more pomp and circumstance to it, which makes me feel sort of icky about customizing it. You know, if I truly did not like the figure, I would not have bought it. Let's be real. So I do really like this figure. I know it's early in the year, but you know, this is would already be on my top 10 for the first half of 2026. I know we're only in January. That sounds like a crazy thing to say. I haven't gotten that many figures yet, so I think I also am allowed to say that, because I haven't gotten that many figures yet. It's only January. But yeah, I'm excited to see what else comes out of this Founder Series. I'm really excited for the Savage Dragon figure. Now that I have this in hand, my worries about the figure itself and the proportions and the way that it moves and everything, all of that has been completely, you know, put to bed now that I have it in hand. So that is my spiel about the Spawn figure. So with that, there are a lot of Spawn characters that have not gotten modern action figures from the man that made Spawn. So let us know in the comments below, what Spawn character would you love to see come to the modern McFarlane Toys action figure line? And while you're down there, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so that way you don't miss it when we post new videos. While you're liking and subscribing to things, make sure you follow us here at AIC_podcast on Instagram, X, TikTok, all the places where we're constantly posting toy news, deals, availability, anything and everything that we think would help out the community. And then, of course, the podcast. So Adventures in Collecting, you can find us wherever you find podcasts. Simply search for Adventures in Collecting, or go ahead and hit the link in the description below, which will take you to our website, and you can find links to all of the things that I just mentioned. And as always, stay spawny.